Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. We are here. Premier League football is back after an FA Cup break, which we won't go into anymore. We've done that to death. But we have Leicester tomorrow in the Midlands derby, and I'm joined by Martin, Mr. Atmato Leonardo himself. How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, good. Glad to be back after a bit of illness.
Yes, you were meant to be on our transfer deadline special, mate, but couldn't get out of your sick bed for that. But you've joined us tonight, so good to have you on board, mate. And yeah, going to talk all things Villa for hopefully getting 3 points tomorrow, mate.
Yeah, please God, another Emery masterclass would be nice.
Exactly. So please, if you are watching, you did mention before the show, Martin, that we are currently on 962 subscribers. We are only 38 away from 1,000. So please all do leave a like on the video. Please subscribe if you are new to the channel. The growth of this channel over the last few months, but certainly the last few weeks has been fantastic. Your support, your comments, your likes help us spread the word of this channel. So yeah, please do subscribe if you are new and help us to reach that big 1,000 mark. So Martin, we chatted just before the show about kind of the transfer window is shut now. Me and Kev we tried our hardest to will a signing over the line. The closest we got was I think it was Bogard going out on loan to Bristol Rovers right at the end of the window. That's the breaking news that we got. But I think you shared this in our group about the squad that we've potentially got in terms of senior players, obviously young players to come in there as well. How happy are you with the squad as it stands at the moment?
Well, to start off, it wasn't me. It was George who
Oh,
actually
George,
shared that on the
sorry.
WhatsApp. So I'm not going to take any credit whatsoever.
Okay.
Uh, but no, when I looked at that list of players, I thought it's actually still a pretty good squad. It looks like a more healthy competition because we've constantly got rid of a lot of dead wood, which there was always talks about that from the Dean Smith era, the Gerrard era, and they never done it. Where Emery just came in and said, "Nah, chopped the whole lot off." And when I looked at that list that George sent in, I was like, that's a really, really healthy competition of good quality players in each position. So I know a lot of fans are probably saying, where are the more incomings? But when you look at the list of players that are there, it's a good competition and it's going to drive players to try and keep their place in the team.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, mate. And I know we had some real good comments from our viewers the other day about the quality of the squad now, the trimming it down, and just that being that kind of core of players that can
Mm.
all add something different to certain games, but can all push each other on. And I think we'll talk about players that are coming back a little bit later, but certainly those players coming back to full fitness will just add to that. Just add to that competition and add to that kind of core group of sort of 19, 20 players that can all have an effect on the game, because there was nothing worse than saying, "Oh, we've got Nakamba hanging around." Not their fault, but Nakamba hanging around, or a Sanson hanging around, or a Gilbert hanging around when they were never going to play. So what was the point in them hanging about? They might as well go and get game time and not. You don't want too many kind of those type of players hanging around the training ground, do you?
No, absolutely not. And don't get me wrong, I like Sanson. I thought I was a big enough fan of Sanson, but even with Smith, Gerrard, and now Emery, he just never got a sniff. And I don't think he did anything wrong. I mean, I think
No.
he's one of those players that we can actually look at. He didn't do anything wrong, but just didn't work out for whatever reason. Nakamba as well was in and out, but
Yeah,
that
you're
he was
you're
only
you know
really in if somebody was injured.
yes.
Uh, who else did we get rid of? I'm trying to think of the name
Gilbert,
here, but
Gilbert, not
Gilbert,
but never good enough.
never good
Bednarek
enough.
going back to his
But
club.
in fairness, in his
Gustinson
first
going back.
season with us, I thought he was actually quite solid. But
Yeah,
then the
but
signing of Matty Cash inevitably
yeah,
just shifted him aside, and I don't know why we didn't
yeah,
sell him sooner.
yeah, exactly. We have added back to our squad Bertrand Traore, who
Mm.
comes back in. A player who never really stood a chance under Gerrard, but in terms of outputs, the season when Smith was here, when the lockdown season, obviously chips in with goals, chips in with assists, does the unpredictable. He's going to be a useful member of the squad, isn't he?
Absolutely, and that's what I was saying, that healthy squad competition, which is desperately something we needed for a long time, and Emery's called him back. Feels he could use him. He said he knew him from his time at Lyon because obviously Emery was at PSG, and Emery likes to look at every single player. So he feels like he's going to get some utility with him, whether that be on the wide of the midfield four or probably in the left or the right side of the strike force. So it'd be interesting to see. And funny enough, he was given a number 9 shirt, which really surprising to me for him to get the number 9 shirt.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know what other numbers are available. To be fair, but yeah, I mean, absolutely. And if he can get back to full fitness, he's going to be a really useful member of the team. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a smart. I think it's a good move. Got comments coming in already. Supreme 1 out of 7. I really like the new badge that's repping our club much more than the current one. Michael's in the house. Good evening. Just got in from working in time for this podcast. Thank you, mate. I'm glad to know that we are first on the list when you get in from work. Deontay, happy Friday, everyone. Looking forward to the return of the Villa boys tomorrow. Rachel says, evening all.
Even Rachel.
Good evening, Rachel. John Steele, I'm predicting that Coutinho will come off the bench and score a screamer in a 3-1 win. That would be
John,
fantastic.
if he does that, I'll send you money.
Michael says, please, it will take 2 or 3 windows. Yeah, it definitely will.
100%.
Barry says, bringing Bertie back is a smart move. And Michael says he is a throwback to those Maverick players. Yes, absolutely. And he can win a game. He can come off the bench and be effective. So, yeah. On to tomorrow then. So 3:00 kickoff. A 3:00 kickoff on a Saturday at Villa Park, Martin. I mean, who'd have thought it?
It's New Year, New Villa. I know we're in the month of February, but New Year, New Villa. 3:00 kickoff on a Saturday for once. Now I know. I think the last 3:00 game I went to would have been. I think it was Villa against Newcastle when we won 2-0. No, sorry,
Yes.
Villa Crystal Palace. Villa Crystal Palace, one of the last home games last season.
Right. Yeah.
When it was 1-1. I went to that one, and
Yes. Me too.
I don't remember a Villa 3:00 kickoff since then.
No,
I've
honestly, I
either
don't
gone
think there has
to
been. I don't think there
I've
has
either
been.
gone to the Sunday games or Friday night. I was there against Leeds, and not a
Yeah.
Saturday at 3:00.
Yeah. And we welcome Leicester. Going to be a tough game. I mean, we'll go through the stats in a bit, but what are your kind of initial thoughts on facing Leicester at the moment?
Don't get me wrong, I think this is another game where an Emery masterclass is kind of going to happen, but at the same time, Leicester have actually picked up a bit of form now. They started to pick their confidence back up. Like, obviously, a few
Couple of
weeks ago, they
decent
were,
cup wins, haven't
yeah,
they? Yeah.
like, obviously, a couple of weeks ago, they were down really at the bottom, and people were probably thinking Leicester could be in trouble, but they obviously had a lot of injuries, and then since then, players have come back. They picked up some good points, and obviously, they're playing against the teams that were around them, so it benefited them really well. And I don't know what the story is with James Maddison. I think he's fit, but
I think he's fit. Yeah.
I don't know whether he'll start, which is a different story altogether. But the only threat for me with Leicester would be Harvey Barnes or James Maddison, but neither are really hitting song at the minute.
Yeah, it's just they're likely to hit form against us, and Iheanacho generally scores against us. I've just been on a Leicester podcast, and they're quite happy that they've signed Tete, I think he is, or Tite, winger. So they think he's going to start. I like Dewsbury Hall. I think he's a really good player, but
He's solid.
they are weak at the back, and the goalkeeper, with that back line isn't the best. So I'm pretty sure they'll concede goals. It's just whether we can keep Maddison quiet, whether we can keep Iheanacho quiet, and if Vardy comes off the bench, I'm not sure if he's fully fit. But yeah, they've got players who can hurt us and players who love scoring against Villa, and that's always a nasty. That's always a nasty mix, isn't it?
Yeah, and Emi Martinez getting his clean sheet, obviously against Southampton. Thinking he was coming up to the next game. Funny enough, it's against Leicester, a player who would love to score against Villa, and they can score goals, but at the same time they concede. So this could be a high-scoring game altogether.
Yeah. Barry mentions there Leicester always score at Villa Park, and John
Mm.
says Maddison is a big danger, especially if we play a high line. I totally agree. I don't think they're quite as fast as they used to be. I remember them
No.
absolutely battering us, like with the season where we just about stayed up, like they beat us 4-1 and just killed us with our high line. Um, and both teams like to play out from the back, so I think there'll be one or two kind of dodgy moments at the back for both teams.
Mm.
Um, but we've got to go into it with confidence, mate. I mean, we talk tough game for Leicester, but it's going to be a tough game for us against Leicester. Sorry, but it's going to be a hell of a tough game for Leicester. You know, we're 5 wins from 7, but just off the back of beating Southampton, we've got to be going into it with some confidence, haven't we?
Absolutely. And with Chelsea and Fulham on at the minute, I'm not too sure of the score. I think it's still 0-0.
It was
But
0-0 just before, yeah, yeah,
yeah, like that's a game where you're hoping for a draw just to suit Villa. And obviously, like I said, we still have to beat Leicester. So if you do beat Leicester and let's say Chelsea Fulham here draw, you're in a real mix for a European push here. And that's not just 7, it's 5th and 6th as well, which
yeah.
is
Look,
massive.
hey, let's not get
I'm
too
not
ahead
getting
of
ahead of myself.
ourselves.
We're not going to get ahead of ourselves, but we're in the mix. That's all I'm going to say.
we
You're in the
yeah,
mix,
we're looking
but
up the table rather than down the table, which
yeah,
is
but
which is a
which is a
much
bonus.
healthier place to be. Yes,
And
absolutely.
obviously, no one has picked up more points than Emery. Only Arteta and I think Ten Hag are the two coaches level with Emery in the last 7 games. He's been, or sorry, 5 games. Emery's been around, and so it just goes to show the testament of how good Emery's been. And I don't. I know we like to play from out the back and we like to play a high line, but if Leicester do the same thing, Emery, like I said, he doesn't exactly have a playing style. It's going to be to suit us against the opposition we're playing against. So it's not. It's going to be playing this way one week and then the same way the next. No, it's different styles every single week, which is what I love, the unpredictability of what way we're going to play, and you know, and it's been working. So I'd
Yeah.
say if it's not fixing, or it's not, sorry, if it's not broke, why fix it?
Exactly. I said exactly the same before, mate. When I said, Emery, the beauty about Emery at the moment is that he's approaching different games with different tactics, and the players are
Mm.
taking it on board. So that means that we're quite difficult to play against because you don't quite know what you're going to be facing. So that's a real plus point, and it's a real kind of benefit to go into the game tomorrow, knowing that we've got players who can hurt the opposition, and knowing that we've got a tactical system that I'm sure will cause Leicester problems. So yeah, that's a real thing to look forward to. Just before going to the stats and everything like that, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, in terms of like this game being crucial, we've got Man City after this away from home. We've got Arsenal at home after that, and then we've got Everton away. I mean, if there is a game that kind of is almost at that crossroads point of, do we push on, or are we in danger if we lose this game of going on a bad run? This one's it, isn't it? Tomorrow.
Yeah, if you win this game, I think you got good confidence going into the Man City game, knowing that we can push on. But at the same time, you're right. If we do lose, you're probably thinking, what was all that effort for? Now you're going to Man City away, and then you've Arsenal after that straight away. So, but look, I'm not. I'm not going to say I'm not worried. I'm not like as mad probably as I would have been if it was Gerrard. Oh,
Yeah,
here we go, Leicester, City, Arsenal, and we'll probably lose to Everton while we're at it. But no, this time I'm actually saying we can beat Leicester, and I know we can beat Leicester. Man City, we got a point out with them the last time,
mm,
and I'm pretty sure Emery can. Hopefully, if he snatches another point, that'd be great because I'll take a draw against them any day of the week.
absolutely.
Arsenal, that'll be an interesting game
Against
for
his
him
old
anyway.
club. Yeah,
If
yeah, yeah,
that'll be an
yeah,
interesting
yeah,
game.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
the Everton game, I'm going to say now, I'm not worried about Everton. I couldn't give a flying fuck about them. I know we're beating them.
Right, so we'll have a look at the stats, and then we'll talk about players and stuff in a little bit. But yes, certainly stats in terms of Villa Leicester as a whole. We've in the Premier League we've played 26 games. Leicester got the better of us in terms of
Mm.
wins. 10 wins for Leicester, 6 wins for us, and 10 draws. And then we've won 4 at home, and they've won 6 at home. They've also won 4 away. Obviously, some of it was when we were poor when we first came up, but also,
Mm,
thinking back in the day, they always used to get the better of us. So recently though, it's not been too bad. I mean, we drew 0-0 last season and beat them 2-1. And then the season before that, they beat us 2-1. We beat them 1-0. And then, like I say, that 4-0, a 4-0 thrashing that we had against them, and I think
yeah.
they beat us 4-1 as well before in that season as well. So we
Mm,
I think it was 8-1 aggregate that season, but we just about stayed up. But since then, honors, we've won two, they've won one, we've drawn one. So we've got to be fairly confident. And form wise, you look at that form. I mean, since coming back from the World Cup, 4 defeats,
yeah.
1 draw. They've stopped the rot with that draw against Brighton, like you say, and then they've won a cup game as well. So they are turning the corner a little bit. But then, you look at that, the last 4 games, 3 wins, 1 draw. We've got to be going into it with a lot of confidence, haven't we, mate? To be fair.
Absolutely, and it's just been the whole Emery being at the wheel that every single fan now can go into this weekend not with hope, because it's the hope that kills you, as we know,
Yeah,
but confidence of going into a game. And
yeah.
if you lose, right, we know it's not the end of the world now, because we're going to give Emery time, unlike previous managers when we lost in Village, where it was the worst place you want to be in.
Exactly, exactly. And then season so far, obviously we're in 11th, Leicester in 14th. We've won 8 games, they've only won 5. 4 draws for us, 3 draws for them. They've lost 12 games this season. We've lost 8, and then their average goals scored is higher than us, so
Mm.
1.4. But their average goals conceded, almost 2 goals per game conceded. So that's where they are really struggling. I mean, ironically, they've got one more clean sheet than us, and they do create chances. So that obviously points to a lack of lack of being clinical in front of goal. But I think the game's there to be won for us. Absolutely, game's there to be won for us. So let's go into it with confidence, Martin.
Yeah, and and if we do win that game, you're looking of going into conference then against Man City, who are slowly slipping away from, the title there, with Arsenal being so dominant at the minute, and if we can damage City's, title hopes, that would just be a huge, huge accomplishment to Emery. And whatever happens then after that, it's all game by game.
Yeah, yeah. Few comments coming in. Barry says hopefully Bailey shows up again with an early goal.
Hmm.
Michael says no easy games, but we must be respectful, and he would take a 1-0 win. John says Carlos is nearer to a return, but he'll have to fight for a start. I hope Mings gets a new contract. He's currently our best defender. Yeah, Mings is playing really well at the moment, isn't he, Mark?
Oh, just from playing out the back, he's been absolutely brilliant. And I think that was the difference with Emery, apart from, Gerrard and Smith, where we were kind of behind the ball at times, and Mings was kind of had to be, obviously he's a defender, but I know I'm probably stating the obvious here, but he had to defend, and probably a few mistakes came with him, and we were slating mistakes for him. But since Emery's come in, we've been playing at the back, and he's been exceptional at it.
Yeah,
Just getting the
yeah.
ball into
And
midfield,
some
splitting between the
range of
lines,
passing
getting it
as
to,
well. Like, yeah, some
yeah,
longer passing, some passing,
longer
like you
passing,
say, between the lines. Yeah,
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 and getting it to the fullback 10 times quicker than he probably would have. It was one touch, bang, gone.
yeah,
And he's been
yeah,
absolutely sensational. Him and Konza been both
yeah,
doing the same thing.
yeah. Playing really well at the moment. Barry says we've been okay versus City and Arsenal recently. Important to retain our current momentum into those games.
Mm.
Absolutely. Got a score prediction from Tom, so I will come to that later. And yeah, John said, don't worry about the Leicester hoodoos. Emery is the hoodoo killer. If we keep a clean sheet, I'll be a very happy Irishman. There you go.
You and me both, John.
Yes, 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 yes. Before we get you starting lineup, mate, John Duran, or John Duran, um, kind of slightly confusing in terms of when we signed him. Emery was like, he's one for the future. We're not gonna rush him or anything like that. And then obviously in the press conference, he's talked about him training really well. He's picked up the game really well, and potentially could be used and make his debut tomorrow. So I mean, I don't know whether that was the signing of him when he talked in the signing of him was kind of playing it down a little bit, or whether Duran has really impressed them in training. What are your thoughts though? Because it's obviously encouraging either way.
Yeah, and from what I believe, I think I'm just calling him John. John Duran, uh, obviously must be apparently very humble and down to earth and just wants to work hard, which a lot of them Colombian footballers are really. And I've seen a few clips of him training and pinging him in the top corner. You'd expect that in training, so I'm not going to get too
Yeah,
worried about that. But I seen that conference that he's doing really well. He's putting in the hard work, and I think he'll be on the bench. You're right, he could get a chance, and if he does, I hope he grabs it with both arms.
be amazing if he scored, wouldn't it?
Oh, and imagine, like, I seen on the Villa Twitter as well
There's-
that him putting in the top corners, right? And it was like, it's like Haaland, the way he moves. I'm like, lads, calm down. The chap's only 18.
well, John's already said he'll get minutes tomorrow, and he's saying it now. Scores a tap in from a Kamara through ball. Holtender Rob who's joining us. Team spirit looks top draw. Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Some of those videos. I know they're a bit like, a bit cheesy and a bit cliche and that, but sometimes it's nice to see like the players having fun on the training ground, and it does look like there's a real good spirit. And why wouldn't there be when you've won 5 games out of the last 7 in the Premier League?
that's it. It's just that win and feel factor that just gets you, and then confidence of going into games and games. And it happens. And like we said, under the Gerrard era, there was just no atmosphere from the players and the fans it was shown as well. And look, I'm a Villa fan. I'm not saying all Villa fans were like this, but it was just kind of dire when Villa were
Yeah, it,
playing
it
under
just seems
Gerrard,
like
and then
it just seems
Emery
like a
came in,
different.
and it's just
Yeah.
a breath of fresh air,
Yes. Yes.
which has been
Yes.
absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. T1's checking in. Hey T1, thanks for tuning in. So we'll get your starting lineup coming up now. So you guys let us know in the comments what you think what you would play, and do you agree with Martin or not when I put the lineup on. So yeah, talk me through because almost kind of picks itself, but there's one or two players that we'll come to in a bit that are coming back. So you've gone for a pretty steady lineup though, mate.
Yeah, I think the lineup at the minute is picking itself. I don't see Emery dropping Young anytime soon. I think he's been sensational. Uh, Konza and Mings have been fantastic. As we know, Emi Martinez is the number one choice, so he doesn't lose a spot at all. Moreno, I've actually been very impressed with Moreno when I seen him in his debut against Leeds, just starting up really high, and the same against Southampton. So I don't see him losing the spot. Kamara Louise, as we all know, we love them.
Yeah,
Buendia on the right, Ramsey on the left, and then Watkins and Bailey up top. So the team, it really does pick itself. It really does.
yeah, it's a good side. I mean, obviously, you've got Luca Dean coming back to fitness. Emery confirmed that he'd been training all week and is back in contention. And then you've got John McGinn as well, who was playing really well before he got injured. So yeah, would there be a case for either one of those two to come into the team? Obviously, Matty Cash as well. Would there be a case for one of those three or any of those three to come in?
Yeah, there definitely would be a case, especially for Cash and McGinn. Sorry, for Tatum, yeah, you're right. For Digne, probably a bit too soon for his injury. McGinn probably
Yeah,
have a case maybe for Buendia, just to give Buendia a bit of a rest. Matty Cash definitely has a case. I know he got injured against Stevenage, and that was his first game back because I know we had the World Cup and Emery was getting him used to the system like he did with
yeah,
Martinez. So then he got injured against Stevenage. So Matty Cash and McGinn probably have the two strongest cases at the minute.
yeah. It's one of those, isn't it? Because Harvey Barnes is quick, so
But look what Ashley Young did to Son.
Yeah, well,
Son is
exactly.
massive, is
Yeah,
quicker than Harvey Barnes
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
Young
yeah, yeah.
in the
And
pocket.
also, Nanto as well from Leeds.
Leeds.
He did really well against him. So,
So it's
yeah,
just the
it's
experience head.
yes, agreed.
A quick fullback will want a foot race, but an experienced fullback with like Ashley Young will know where to be and will stop you from trying to get in behind them.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, mate, absolutely. Comments coming in as well. Holtender Rob said it was miserable when under Gerrard. I think, yeah, definitely. Michael's got a great one for Duran. He'll be hungry like a wolf to play. And he
Seeing
will
that.
change his result to 2-1. Excellent. AVFC Stato in the house. All right, lads. Hope it's well. Yes, mate. All good. If you can give us some stats in the comments as well, Villa Stato, that would be brilliant. Anything you've got from Villa Leicester, that would be great to share with the pod. T1 said, love the Kamara interview. He needs us to be noisy. All the way in Jamaica, he's going to hear my voice. Fantastic. Yeah, I think it's going to be key, isn't it, for the whole for the whole ground. You know, I know you talked about the atmosphere at Leeds and you were amazed by it, you were blown away by it, but first 3 o'clock kickoff for ages, like we've talked about, it's really important that the fans get behind the team, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I say the fans would be buzzing for this one. That it's a 3 o'clock, and if they do win, it's celebrations on the beer straight away, which something I think obviously Villa fans must have missed because the Friday night game, 8 o'clock, and it finished at 10. A lot of places starting to close by then, and then Sunday again, it's the same thing. So
Yeah.
Saturday 3 o'clock is absolutely fantastic for any club, not even just Villa and their fans, because then if you win, you celebrate, you drink like mad. But then if you lose, you're drowning in your sorrows. It's just mixed emotions when it comes to Saturday at 3 o'clock.
Yes, absolutely. Holt End Rob says Moreno looks like he's got a goal in him. He
Yeah,
does. He does. He looks like he's got assists in him as well. If we
yeah.
can get used to that cross, that low cross across the box, we can
The cutback,
definitely
yeah.
cause some damage.
Because
Yeah,
when I saw him against Leeds and the way he was just bombing forward, and two or three times, sorry, the ball didn't get to him, and I'm thinking he is miles open. But then at times he did get it, and unfortunately didn't take his chance, but it will come. He definitely has a goal in him. He definitely's got an assist, and he loves the little cutback, which has suited us really well, rather than just the high ball in and no one's getting to it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he's been fantastic since he's come in, and I'm really been impressed.
Yeah, well, hopefully, like I say, hopefully he gets a goal or an assist tomorrow. It'd be fantastic. Barry can see McGinn back in tomorrow, maybe for Buendia, like you just said there.
Mm,
And Ramsey likes a goal against Leicester.
he
Ramsey started
does.
to play well as well, so hopefully he's got they've got Madison who can hurt. We've got Ramsey or Buendia, or we've got lots of players who can hurt them. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Mm.
AVFC Stato has delivered as he always does. So since the Premier League restarted after the World Cup break, no team has lost more games, which is 4, or won fewer points, which is 1, than Leicester City. I don't know if that's tempting fate or not.
Yeah, I hate when I see that type of stuff.
Douglas Luiz has the joint most assists for and most chances created, 23 of any Aston Villa player in the Premier League this season. He's
Ooh.
been involved in 4 goals in his last 6 league games, 1 goal and 3 assists, as many as he's had in his previous 37 appearances. Now, that is a really key thing there, because that's obviously Emery making an impact, and also just that partnership with Kamara allowing Luiz to get forward more. And that just shows you the kind of confidence that he's playing with, but also the difference that's been made since Emery's come in.
Absolutely, and I remember you were saying like Douglas Luiz was, oh, he's a 1 in every 6. He'd have one great game in every 6 games and be average or shit for 3 or 5, and that's probably because he was playing as a 6, which is not his role. And since Kamara's come in, he's able to come up and down as an 8 box to box, and he's been unbelievable. And I didn't know that they're being involved in 4 goals in the last 6 games, more than his previous 37. That just goes to show the impact of Emery, and you know, it's just absolutely. I'm speechless when I just after saying that, like
Yeah. John says we haven't kept a clean sheet against Leicester in 13 games. That's got to be home, because we drew 0-0 with them at King Power last season.
I
It
think it
must be at
was
home.
since
Must be at home.
2001
Yeah.
when
That
we beat them
home
2-0.
games though.
Yeah, it might be home because
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the last time we kept a clean sheet against Leicester at home was 2001.
Right. Well, there you go. Yeah, it must be that. Yeah, status confirming there. It is at home. Pretty sure our possession percentage against Leicester at home in previous season has been poor. It needs to change. Yeah, absolutely. And my Gaza's in the house. Welcome, Gaza. Nice to see you, mate. Looking forward to another Kamara masterclass. Yep,
Come
definitely.
on, Gaza.
And Michael is loving the Duran puns. So watching Duran, it looks like he has good reflex. Yeah. Super
Oh,
and
bad
Emery
jokes from
players look
galore here.
happier. Yeah. AVFC Stato, only Middlesbrough, 15 versus Man United, and Fulham, 14 versus Man City, have played more home games without ever keeping a clean sheet in the Premier League than Villa's 13 against Leicester. So there's another tempting fate. Hopefully that'll mean we get a clean sheet against them tomorrow. So he's evened it up there. He's definitely evened it up there.
ABC style, can you find out for me, was that clean sheet in 2001?
I bet
Or
it
was it
was. I bet it
2000?
was.
I think it was.
Right. Good. Before we get score predictions from you, mate, and my score predictions, the score predictions from everybody else, Rachel made a point. Love that Emery is still on the training pitch coaching as well. And just the point on Emery, here he is in all his glory. Obviously, manager of the month, didn't quite win it. Maybe they. I know he had as good a record as Arteta. Maybe they're looking at kind of quality of opposition. I don't know. But he can count himself unlucky not to have won the manager of the month, can't he?
You see them Arsenal fans? They'll vote for their manager about 10 times over like that. Robbed. Robbed.
But
He
do you
had
want
4
to win it
games.
though? That's the thing. Is it the curse of the manager of the month?
You might have a good point there. Well, Emery's a curse breaker.
Yeah,
Remember that.
well, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So, like, even if
yeah,
I reckon had he won manager of the month, he probably would have got it again.
yeah. No,
So,
it's
but
yeah.
I think he should have got it. I think he should have got it.
Yeah.
4 games, 3 wins, and 1 draw. Where Arteta had 3 games with 2 wins and a draw. So,
exactly.
like, it's them Arsenal fans. They just love the clickbaits.
Yeah.
They just keep going.
Yeah. He's got to be, but we'll keep moving along quietly, and we'll keep shocking those teams every time we win a game. It's always a surprise win for Villa. So we'll have a surprise win
I see
tomorrow.
a thing with a picture of the 4 games. We bet Liverpool 7-2 was Villa stun Liverpool.
Yeah, I saw that.
United, Villa stun United. Spurs Villa stun.
It was
Like
stun
Spurs, it was
Fulham
just
as well, wasn't it, or something like that? Yeah.
Villa comeback stuns Fulham. Like it was like
yeah. Every time we beat anyone, everyone's just absolutely stunned that we've managed to get a win. So yeah, it's a funny one. It's a funny one. Right. Before we get your scores and the graphics just come up there, we are, as I said before, we last count were 38 subscribers, away from 1,000. So if you haven't already, that is 962 if you're good at maths. But yeah, if you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe to the channel. Help us get to that 1,000 mark, and please do leave a like on the video. It helps us spread the word of the channel. So yeah, it was fantastic support you've all given us. Get your score predictions in. I'll go with a few more comments before we get your predictions. So Gaz is saying a clean sheet tomorrow. Emmy is on his game. Villa Status said Villa have kept 4 Premier League clean sheets away from home against Leicester. 2000 to 2001, 2003 to 2004 season, 2020-21 season, and 21-22 season. Michael did see Duran playing at Villa Park many years ago, and he'll see another Duran playing tomorrow, hopefully. So that'll be good. Marine Boy said the FA Cup game goes against him. Yeah, maybe so. I'm happy that no highlight is on Boober and Dougie Monster Class because we have many piranhas like Chelsea scouting. Absolutely.
Oh.
John says manager of the month is a fan vote. That's the only reason Emery didn't win.
Exactly, the Arsenal fans.
Yeah. Rachel said I'm all for us, Emery, and our players to be under the radar. Oh, yes. We need to shout out this. Carla Ward won the manager of the month for the ladies. I think that's twice she's won this season as well. So that's fantastic. And me and Kev did a big kind of conversation around the ladies team the other day, and they're just doing brilliantly. So up the Villa ladies are doing fantastically well. So let's keep them going. Made some great signings, and hopefully push up the league.
Who are they playing this weekend?
That is a very good question. I will find out for you and let you know once I've gone through all these comments, mate.
No bother.
And then we have Villa till we die in the house. Confidence is a big factor. Respect Leicester, but I think and believe in us. Michael thinks we'll beat Arsenal, which will be fantastic. Who's this? Maybe it looks because he looks like he's been dragged through a hedge backwards in the pressers. Yeah. It's because he's coaching all the time. I'm glad we're going under the radar. It suits us just fine. Emery loves Villa and we love Emery. Yeah. And yes, well done, Carla Ward. So Martin, we're getting predictions coming in. What are your thoughts for tomorrow's scores, scoreline, and scorers?
I'm going to go with the curse breaker of Emery. So I'm going to go 2-0 Villa.
2-0
Jacob
Villa.
Ramsey.
Yes.
Jacob. And Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins has been on form. I got to give him a go.
I like it. So what's that? 2-0 Villa, Ramsey and Watkins.
Yeah.
That's a good shout. AVFC status is 3-1. That's a good score. Agreement is John's in agreement with that. 3-1 Villa. Rachel saying 2-1 Villa. Fingers crossed. Super and Emery, he always predicts us to get beat. Villa 1, Leicester 2. Going to start poorly and grow into the game, but it won't be enough. Hopefully,
I think this lad just likes to be wrong on purpose.
Yeah, I do. I think he does it on purpose. Yeah. Holtender Rob says 2-0 Villa. Moreno to score any time. Michael says Watkins for that. Score in a 2-1 win. I think was it Tom at the top of the show said Villa to win 2-1. So there. So I think that's a 99% rate. Aurelio's in the house saying, been watching Chelsea, we'll catch up later. No problem, mate. You catch up. Barry says, goals tomorrow. Danny Ward is poor. 4-0 Villa. Wow. There we see. So we've sussed him out. We've sussed him out. There we go. Gary, hi guys. Another game we have to win if we want to dream of the Conference League. The next two are bonus games, really, after this 2-1 win. I'm going to say the same. 2-1 win. I think it'll be Watkins and Bailey, mate. I think it'll be the
I think Bailey will get another one, do
you? Yeah. I think
I went with Ramsey because I remember the comment. I can't remember who said it, that Ramsey loves to go against Leicester, and it's actually a true one. He actually has scored quite a few against them.
Yeah. Well, he should have scored. He deserved one last season when he
Smudge put the one hand down, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I love in his press conference after the game when the lads ask him, "Did you know that was a rule?" Yeah. He didn't know that was a rule.
Yeah. 2-1 says cautious. We are set up to terrorize and pinch a 1 or 2-0 win. Yeah, well, you said it before, mate. You know, Emery will set up tactically differently against different teams, so he'll definitely have a plan to beat Leicester tomorrow, won't he?
Absolutely, which has been absolutely why we love Emery and Emery loves us. Each game we don't know what way we're going to play, but we just know 3 points are coming. I'm not getting ahead of myself, but from the last few games, this game I'm focusing on, never mind the others, 3 points is coming.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. I am actually going to the game. It's my son's birthday tomorrow, 9 years old, so I'll be taking him down to the game. So if anyone's around, wants to say hello, please do. Please shout us out. Martin, I think that's us. You know, very positive. Hopefully we're back in on Sunday. We'll probably be back Sunday night for a reaction show.
Can you just find out who the Villa ladies are playing?
Oh yes, they're playing Brighton at home on Sunday.
Brighton at home.
12:30. So
be sure to watch that.
Another one there where they could win. Brighton are second from bottom in the league. Villa are 6th at the moment. So if they win, they could go 5th. So that's could be a good weekend all round for Villa. So happy birthday. Yes, thanks, Michael. He's 9 years old tomorrow, so we're looking forward to going to the game.
And by the way, folks, he said backstage this is actually a present for him, never mind his son.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's got to be. It's
The
got to
poor
be.
child is only going because Rich has got an excuse.
So yeah, we'll have fun. You got to stop now, Super Unami. You got to stop.
Yeah,
Iheanacho
come
score a
on.
hat
We've
trick.
caught you now. That's
Yeah,
it.
we've got you now.
Give up.
We've got you. We've got you. Right, guys, thank you so much for getting involved in the comments. Thank you for your support on the show. As I said before, please do like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Help us on the road to 1,000. We'll be back on Sunday for a match reaction show, and then we'll be back for various shows throughout the week. Hopefully a talking tactics show with Gareth where we're discussing another victory and also previewing the upcoming Man City game. So lots of content to come over the next few days. Martin, thanks so much for your company tonight.
No
And
problem.
always, everyone, remember,